Ugh, I have a pounding headache, and it gets worse every time I look at my phone. I seriously need to cut back on my screen time, but it feels impossible. I use my phone for everything. I'm learning to play guitar, so I've been using it to watch all these how-to videos. I'm also right in the middle of a great book that I got a digital copy of, so I've been using my phone to read. Not to mention, it's how I find my basketball league schedule and talk to my friends. So, what do I do? I can't just ignore my phone, but I keep getting these headaches. It feels like I'm being pulled in multiple directions at once. Have you ever felt something similar? Like you're caught in a game of tug of war and it's starting to mess with your health? This feeling doesn't come out of nowhere. It's the result of the many influences in our lives pulling us in various directions, and they can have a large impact on our well-being. So, how do we figure out what's influencing our health? And what do we do if our influences are taking us down a path we don't want? Today, we'll be figuring this out as we identify the internal and external influences in our lives and evaluate how these influences are impacting our well-being. Let's get into it. So, what exactly is an influence? And what does it have to do with my screen time? Well, an influence is any factor that shapes our decisions, behaviors, or opinions. These influences can have huge impacts on our health. Some influences are internal, meaning they come from our own minds and bodies. They include the things we want and the things we like and dislike, our values, and even our physical needs and abilities. So, for me, some internal influences are that I want to learn to play guitar, that I like basketball, and that I've been getting these headaches lately. Other influences are external, meaning they come from outside of us. They include our family, friends, community, media, laws, and culture. So for me, some external influences are my basketball league schedule and my friends' group text. Let's take a look at the various impacts our influences can have. Influences impact our health in tons of different ways, like how we choose to stay active. For example, do you often go swimming for exercise? What influences impact the reasons why or why not? Personally, I know how to swim and I enjoy it. Those are internal influences. But I don't have a pool nearby to swim in, and that external influence means swimming for exercise isn't really an option for me. Influences also have a huge impact on other aspects of our health, like our eating habits. Think about what you ate for dinner last night. What influences, both internal and external, do you think might have shaped your meal plan? Maybe you chose to eat your favorite food. Maybe you had some extra carbs and protein to fuel up for a game. Or maybe you steered clear of foods you're allergic to. These are all internal influences that might have impacted what you ate. External influences probably played a role too. Maybe you were influenced by what was on sale at the grocery store. Maybe you saw a post recently about avoiding extra sodium, so you skipped adding salt. Maybe you didn't eat pancakes, even though you love them, because that's not typically on the dinner menu where you live. These influences aren't a one-time deal either. They impact what you have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day. And over time, those influences can have huge impacts on our health. Here's a bigger example. Many people live in neighborhoods where the nearest grocery store with fresh fruits and vegetables is miles away, but there are fast food restaurants on every corner. How do you think these external influences might shape their daily eating habits? Now, let's add in a few more influences. Imagine living in a neighborhood like this without a car, so you walk most places. Imagine seeing an ad about a new milkshake flavor at one of the fast food places that sounds delicious. Imagine you get to the grocery store, but the ingredients to make a nutritious dinner cost $20, while a fast food meal only costs $5. It's pretty easy to see why someone living in a neighborhood like this might struggle to eat nutritious foods, even if it's an important part of their health goals. Now think about the ways these factors influence every person in the neighborhood every single day. How do you think this might impact the health of the entire community? Over time, their mental and physical health outcomes might start to look pretty different from people living somewhere else. So, from what we eat to how we exercise and much, much more, influences shape just about every decision we make. Understanding their effects can help us be more confident about our health-related choices. But how do we accomplish this? We can do this by actively analyzing influences. This important skill will help us understand the various internal and external factors that guide our lives. There are 3 main steps. The first step is to identify the influences in your life. For starters, think about what or who is influencing your health. Is it your family, your friends, your goals, or something else? I've talked about a lot of my influences, but now it's your turn. Pause the video and write down these influences in your guided notes. The second step is to reflect on how each influence impacts your health. For each influence, ask yourself, is this a positive influence or a negative influence? It might even be a bit of both. For example, my friends are a good influence on my mental health and relationships, but all the screen time I'm getting while texting them is taking a toll on my physical health. Pause the video and add these impacts to your guided notes. The third and final step is to adjust the influences in your life where you can. We control a lot of the influences in our lives, like who our friends are, who we follow on social media, and what we do for fun. And for the influences we can't directly control, you can try to change how that influence impacts you. For example, if I'm struggling to adjust my influences and cut back on screen time, maybe I can adjust how it's impacting me by getting some blue light glasses to help with the headaches. Are there any changes you want to make to the influences you've listed? Remember, even if you can't change the influence, you may be able to change how it impacts you. Pause the video and record your thoughts in your guided notes. So it looks like I don't need to just totally ignore my phone to fix these headaches. I can try to understand the influences that keep me glued to it instead and take action to change these influences. Maybe I'll swap my digital book for a paperback, or ask a friend to show me the basics of guitar instead of watching all those videos. Remember, you have the power to make choices that will help you reach your health goals, even when you're in the middle of a tug of war between different influences. If I can do it, so can you. In the meantime, stay on the lookout for both positive and negative influences to your health. When you notice something important, write it down in your health journal. Then you can work toward amplifying the positive influences in your life and finding ways to change how the negative ones are impacting you. In our next lesson, we'll be discussing the important skills of accessing trustworthy information so we can make well thought out decisions. Until then, I'm Caroline, and remember, prioritizing your health is a choice you make every day, and it's worth it. So keep building that healthy lifestyle, take care, and I'll see you next time. Hey, hey.